Okay, let us talk about Maqamat diagrams. Recently I've seen a number of videos where different teachers are doing these graphical demonstrations of Maqamat. So reciting and showing, okay, like an up arrow or a squiggly line showing we're going up or going down and so on. Now, these in and of itself are good. But a couple of issues that I have seen with these videos that I want to comment on, and it's not for the sake of putting down these creators or these teachers and so on, but Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me with a certain way of teaching maqamat. I've been doing this for close to 15 years, maybe definitely over 10 years, maybe 12 to 13 years. And Alhamdulillah, like I have refined my approach over time. So when you see me running a course, Maqamat Blueprint, and I say we have this unique way of teaching Maqamat or this, unique method using our numbered approach, I do feel like I have a responsibility to kind of explain that to you guys so you can decide for yourself. Like, do I want to learn this way or that way? What makes sense? And or just to have a general understanding of how Maqamat works behind the scenes, okay? So these videos will have sometimes these up arrows, down arrows. Remember, when we're reciting, we are just going up and down in pitch in a certain sequenced way, in a certain patterned way. Okay, so that's like a maqam is a certain pattern, and we're going up and down in pitch according to that pattern. So now, that's why these videos they actually get a lot of traction, a lot of likes and reshares and so on, because maybe this is something new that people are not used to seeing. Seeing like, okay, the seeing the tune sort of visually or graphically represented, right? Now, my issue with some of these videos is, okay, let's talk about three things, okay? Number one, accuracy, okay? Number two, precision or specificity. And number three, replicability, okay? So I want you to hang on to these three words. We're going to talk about that in the context of sort of these videos and my approach to teaching, and so you can see where the difference lies. Number one, accuracy, okay? So remember, when we're reciting, we're going up and down in pitch. Now, if and that's what these that's the appeal of these videos, that they show you that you're going up and down in pitch. I don't want to dwell on this for too long, but in numerous occasions in some of these videos that I have seen, sometimes the pitch is going up and the person is drawing down, or the pitch is going down and you'll see a diagram showing going up, right? There was one example that I saw that I checked kind of like prior to this. There's a reading from the beginning of Ar-Rahman, okay? Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Qur'an. So the sound is going al-Qur'an. Ah. I'll use my hand. Ah. And the diagram shown is like something like this, like a squiggly line going up, right? So it's inaccurate. It's wrong, right? Meaning, so if you are, as a beginner student, are trying to understand the direction of movement in the maqam, and you see a diagram like this, you can imitate the sound, right? Ignoring the diagram. But if you're trying to learn with the diagram, then that diagram will confuse you because it's wrong, right? The pitch is going down and the diagram is going up, right? In other cases, sometimes I've seen, diagrams showing, like, for example, in the adhan, squiggly lines like this showing going up. But in reality, and you can map this out using like pitch software that'll show you up versus down. In reality, if we use a different color, the pitch might be going up, coming back down, and going back up to a certain level, right? So it's a different graphical representation, right? It's inaccurate, it's wrong. Well, I need to slide that up so you can see it. All right, so that's concern number one, okay? The accuracy. Alhamdulillah, when I listen to these sort of things, I can hear it well. ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. And I've been doing this for 13 years, close to 15 years. So alhamdulillah, I can tell, right? That the pitch is going up versus down. And when you have, especially as a beginner student, if you yourself are reciting and you're not sure, are you going up or down, you would want to know that your teacher is also sure, right? If your teacher is not sure and they show you a diagram going up, but in reality that sound is going down, it is going to throw you off. It is going to throw you off. Number two, we said precision or specificity. What do I mean by specificity? Specificity means the specificness of the pattern. So for example, let's just keep the whiteboard on. If I have, for example, I say وَالضُّحَى, and I just draw an up arrow like that. Okay? Go back to blue. If I say وَالضُّحَى, and I draw an up arrow. Okay? This diagram here, this up arrow, isn't actually showing you. Okay, let's go back. Let's say in Nahawan. Okay? وَالضُّحَى. That is one way to go up in the maqam. I could have وَالضُّحَى, وَالضُّحَى, وَالضُّحَى. Right? Those are three different ways of going up. So this here, this information here that's given by this graphical demonstration, this one arrow is not going to specifically tell you which of those ways you need to go up. And it's not going to specifically tell you how much you need to go up, right? So in the maqam, you have these steps or notes, right? Whatever term you want to use. So if I say, for example, I would teach that as 1 5. Why 1 5? Because the steps in the maqam are 1 5 وَالضُّحَى. So now this description, if I tell a student 1 5, it's going to, like, it's specific, right? So instead of an up arrow that could mean you're going to the third step, you're going to the fourth, you're going to the fifth, you're going to the seventh, you're going to the eighth. It could mean a number of different things. This is very specific now. So when a student is learning with me a certain maqam, they're going to learn specific numbered patterns. So for example, for doing bayati, and I say, I was just doing this with a student, right? If I say, in this maqam, this is 1 2 3 4 3 2 1, and each of these notes has a specific sound. So if I want to recite and I say 1 4 1 4 3 2 1, a student can learn, once they learn that system and they learn that structure for the maqam, for that specific maqam, then they understand. If we say 1 4, it's a specific sound. It's not like any sound out of the many sounds for that maqam. Okay? Now, the last thing we said was replicability. Replicability means, you see, when this is not just teaching, but anything. Like you have a sign, for example. Words are signs, right? They're symbols in the sense that they represent something, right? Going back to, I'll combine these two, the replicability and like the specificity. And the sun is coming in. With the specificity, right? To use an analogy, if I have a recipe and I tell you, okay, add the brown spice, right? It doesn't really specify how much. It doesn't really specify which. Even if I say, okay, add, the brown spice could be cinnamon is brown, coriander is brown, ground coriander, ground cumin is brown. A lot of stuff is brown, right? And it doesn't specify how much. So when teaching maqamat, there has to be a specificity of how, like, we're going up versus we're going down, but also how much are we going up, how much are we going down, and that's where my numbered approach comes in. That we're naming specifically what we're doing. So if I say a pattern is, like, we're not just teaching. I don't want to make this too long, but to use that example, وَالضُّحَى, it's specifically the 1 of Nahawan and then the 5 of Nahawan. Okay. Now, also in terms of specificity, going back to what I showed here, like it's related to, I guess, accuracy, right? Like a lot of these diagrams, you'll find that there are a number of like squiggly line portions, which in many cases reflects like I don't really know what's going on, just do this squiggly kind of wavy thing. Whenever we hear this like vague terminology, the looping sound of the maqam, the wavy sound of the maqam, do the shaky thing, right? Then that lack of specificity for a student, for someone, by the way, for someone who is naturally gifted and they can imitate stuff, then that would suffice because it just gives them a general sense and they can copy it. But for someone who's a beginner or someone who doesn't understand the maqam to begin with, then this sort of squiggly, wavy, loopy descriptions, they're not as specific as saying, okay, we're going to fluctuate between like these two notes, for example, right? the 3 and the 2. We're going to fluctuate between 3 and 2 and so on. Okay, last thing, replicability. What do I mean by replicability? Replicability means, okay, if I go somewhere else in the Quran, okay, and I just show you do that, right? Or I show you do that. Would you be able to do it that? That's what I'm saying. Words are symbols, right? Like symbols point to something else. Does this point to something specific, right? Could we open somewhere else and I say, do this, and you know what that is? Could we go somewhere else in the Mus'haf and I show this diagram and you're able to do that, right? In most cases, the answer is no, because these don't refer to anything specific, right? Going back to the second thing. So because they're not specific, they're not replicable. Like you can't take this and repeat it somewhere else. Whereas, to go back to this example, if I say, 1, 5, right? Now, and I do this to students all the time, we're reciting from somewhere and I can tell them, okay, try the 1, 5 pattern. So we can say, we're reciting, let's say, Ihdina الصراط المستقيم. There's more to it afterwards, but the point is, the beginning, I can say to a student, let's try 1, 5, right? I had some students reading to me recently from Surah Al-Mulk, right? وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحِ. It continues, but the point is that I can reference this thing. So just like think of tajweed, because a lot of you have studied tajweed. If a teacher says, let's say, do idgham or do idgham, right? That word idgham, if I say do idgham, right? It's referencing something that you know what it is, so now you can repeat that somewhere else. Okay? So if you're reading somewhere and you didn't apply it thing, or somebody says, whatever, the language now allows you to reference a concept that you can now repeat. Okay? So it's like a recipe or a formula in that sense. So if you're learning and you go to somewhere else in the Mus'haf, can I draw an arrow like that, an up arrow or a squiggly line going up, and would you be able to know what to do with that? If the answer is no, then that's not really a method that you can now take and use in different places. Whereas if I say 1, 5, you could go somewhere else. وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحِ. There's more to the patterns, that's why, but I haven't explained it. You could go somewhere else. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. You can go somewhere else. الحمد لله فاطر السماوات والأرض. So this specific pattern is 1, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, right? And this is something that it's not like a trust me bro type of thing. You can run this in a pitch app and you will see that that's the way the direction of the pitch is going. So accuracy is important, specificity or precision is important, and replicability. If you want to learn maqamat in a way that's accurate, specific and repeatable, that you can repeat it in different places, once you learn these patterns, you can apply them in different places in your recitation, then I do invite you to check out my programs. Maqamat Blueprint is my most, depending when you see this, maybe registration is open or closed. Maqamat Blueprint is my most beginner-friendly type of main program. And but that's my method, right? We teach with numbers. So if we're doing bayati, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and once you learn that, and we can reference these numbers. Doing a ajam, right? An up arrow can mean any number of things, right? Anyways, we'll leave it there. If you have questions about the way I teach maqamat or about anything else maqamat related, do drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.